Hello, welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor and I am your host, but I am not God, obviously. I'm not an expert. I'm not even a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of a microphone, hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see divinity in every day. I hope you're seeing it. So, can we talk about prayer? I feel like prayer can be a triggering topic for people. It can be a loaded topic for people. Look, I'm not an authority, okay? I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I've thought a lot about prayer and I think a lot about quantum physics. And we've talked about this before about how maybe quantum physics is involved. I think it is. But one of the things that I think is complicated about prayer is that sometimes we have been sold a transactional relationship with prayer. So like we pray for what we want, and if we are making good choices and God is pleased with us, and we will get what we pray for. And if that is the formula that you adhere to, things can get really confusing when prayers are not answered the way that you expect them, or you don't get what you want, or you don't get the miracle, or you're doing everything quote unquote right and you still don't get the outcome that you so desire. And even when it's like a good thing to want and you still don't get it, and then is God real and does God hate me and whatever. And I'm not saying that nothing matters, but I do think that my relationship with prayer has evolved quite a bit. And my relationship with God has evolved to a point where I don't really think it's transactional. I don't think it's so easy as we do the right thing and we get what we want. I don't think that's true because we know plenty of situations where good people have to endure bad things and bad people get really great things. And I know I don't really think it's as black and white as good people versus bad people, but you know what I'm saying. And so it can be confusing. And I think a lot of people's faith is shaken by the first time that this pattern is disrupted for them, the first time that they experience, wait a minute, I was doing everything right and this bad thing happened. It's a complicated, loaded thing. And so here's what I think about prayer. I view prayer as an ongoing dialogue and energy exchange between me and the divine. So sometimes I say words out loud. Sometimes I say words in my head intentionally in a prayer, like, dear God, like I am praying right now. But more often, I find myself almost viewing talking to myself as talking with God. I just kind of have like an ongoing dialogue in my head all day of like, okay, now I'm going to do this and we're doing this. And man, I hope this happens. And oh, I'm thinking about so-and-so. I hope she's doing okay. And oh, I'm worried about them. And just this like kind of ongoing dialogue in my head, I sort of view as prayer. And there are other times when I will like stop and say a formal prayer. But the more and more I try to shift my attention to divinity and align my will and my energy there, the more I find myself sort of in ongoing prayer all the time. Prayer has become more meaningful for me when I think of it like talking to a friend rather than making demands. And I find my prayers are answered more when I'm looking for divinity. I see and recognize and give credit to God's hand in my life more, because maybe it's coincidence and maybe it just happened, or maybe God was involved. For me, it's more fun to believe that God was involved. When a major prayer goes seemingly unanswered, it can shake your faith. And when that happened to me recently, I decided instead to look for divinity in every day to build evidence that God exists, rather than the unanswered prayer being evidence that he does not. The other type of prayer that I pray is praying on behalf of other people. And I wasn't really a believer. I know we all are critical of like thoughts and prayers, right? Because it's like thoughts and prayers and action, like do something. And I agree. And so I used to be kind of like, you'd almost flippantly say like, oh, I'm praying for you, or I'll pray for you. Or when someone would ask for prayers, or, oh, pray for them, but then I started actually doing it, like actually saying the prayer. I swear to you, after Simon died, I could feel people praying on my behalf. I could feel, and this is when I think quantum physics enters the chat. And we've talked about this before, but like I could feel the collective energy being sent out on my behalf. The love, the thoughts, the pleas, the prayers. I think that giving our attention and capacity to something and involving divinity in it is a really powerful thing. And I do think it actually makes an impact. I've started viewing prayer as more of an active act of service. Like it feels more of like an action to me now, where because I was the recipient of feeling tangibly that energy being outpoured on my behalf, I now feel like if I can give that outpouring, if I can give my attention and my capacity and ask God to be with someone, that's usually my prayer for people, be with them. I don't often pray for certain outcomes anymore. I don't say, please let this happen or please don't let this happen. Much more it is be with them, be with me, send peace, send love, send them what they need. And sometimes I think we get sent because maybe we are what they need and we get to be the divinity in their day. Prayers are answered many ways. And so by looking for that divinity, we'll see more answered prayers. Anyway, if prayer feels foreign to you, if prayer feels uncomfortable for you, if prayer feels hard or triggering for you, I would invite you to try it differently. Don't adhere to the formula that you were given. I think anything can be a prayer. I think a thought can be a prayer. Words can be a prayer. You don't have to follow a strict formula. I think writing can be a prayer. I think a feeling can be a prayer. I think a song can be a prayer. A walk can be a prayer. Anything that you do with the intention of communicating with a source or sending those quantum energy particles out on someone's behalf or your own behalf, it's really a cool thing to experiment with. And I think that you will be guided and shown. But just in case your barrier is that you haven't prayed in a really long time and you don't know if you're worthy of it, or you think God is mad at you, or you don't know how or where to start, I just want to personally give you the permission. I have no authority with you. You're like, great, I don't care what you say. But please, please know and trust and believe that you can pray anytime, always, in any way, and it will be received. And it hasn't been too long, and you're not doing it wrong. It doesn't matter how long or how you do it. It will be received. And I do believe that. So just try it. For me, my ongoing prayer and praying on people's behalf and receiving the prayers on my behalf has been really transformative in my faith. So I depend on prayer quite a bit right now. Is it real? Is there someone out there listening? Is it received? Who knows? But it makes me feel better. And that matters because guess what? It's more freaking fun to believe. Love you so much. We haven't done this one in a while. XOXO, Gossip Girl.